Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So happy Saturday. Things are looking still quite good, but unfortunately, we have CNBC spreading FUD about Crypto.com and its founder, Kris. They mention a lot of red flags. What is that about? Let's talk about it. Oh, I have the wrong screen up, but anyways. It's fine. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are having a good day, but let's take a look. Let's get started this Saturday afternoon looking at Bitcoin. We're at 17.2, so again, not bad. We're going sideways right now. A lot of people still waiting for that big move. I certainly am, and I have more to talk about that in a little bit, but normally I don't check out CNBC on a Saturday because there's not much going on. But you could see front page news, Crypto.com CEO has history of red flags such as bankruptcy, quick exits. So the CNBC right now just trying to spread FUD, just looking for a story. That's what it's looking like. So if you read through it, okay, this author does note that, hey, Crypto.com does look like they're pretty solvent. They look like they're pretty good, okay, as of right now, because they did release their proof of reserves. But this author continues to highlight some of the business ventures that Kris Marszalek, I believe that's how you say his last name, some of the previous businesses that he has run, including e-commerce and also manufacturing, before settling with Crypto.com. So it kind of highlights the history. I'm not going to go through every single one, but it's a pretty damning story if you read through it. It causes definitely a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD, right? And it talks about how early on when Kris, founded this manufacturing company that seemed to be doing well, producing flash drives, then something happened and they weren't able to recover or reproduce more flash drives. So that company went into bankruptcy. Then he started another e-commerce company that was very similar to Groupon, but that was bought out by another company that acquired his company, and then that went under, and then he settled with Crypto.com. So, but if you guys could read through it on your own. You read through it, it's not good. It doesn't sound good, right? But Kris is on top of it. He knew this FUD targeting was coming because CNBC reached out to him for an interview, and he declined it because he's like, well, it serves me no good to do this kind of interview because I know they're just trying to spread FUD, right? So basically, he talks about, going back all the way 20 years ago when he first started that company producing flash drives called Starline, right? They were doing okay for 4 years until they were hit with the 2008 crisis, the housing bubble, right? And went under, and he was only like 30 at the time, and then went on and, kind of talked about his other businesses and how he was targeted because he was one of the co-founders with this lawsuit, and he kind of went over everything. So, I mean, after reading this, I can kind of relate. I was never this successful, okay? But I know what it's like to be an entrepreneur early in my 20s and my 30s. Me and my friends, we tried to start a lot of things. A lot of things. From, apps to websites to drop shipping. I mean, I've tried a lot of things too. And if you're an entrepreneur, it's not easy. Nothing is easy. There's a lot of failures, right? And you pick yourself up and you learn from those failures and you move forward. Even in my investment journey, I've showed you guys, I told you guys stories about how I failed in 2000, 2008, 2017, 2000, whatever, right? Again, everything is about failing, and that's how you grow. That's how you pick yourself up, and that's how you move on to something better, right? So I honestly think this is just a FUD piece. I know there's a lot of fear right now about exchanges, about proof of reserves, right? Crypto.com did release their proof of reserves, and right now, according to their auditor, their assets is over collateralized. You could see that the reserve ratio is above 100% for everything. Bitcoin, Ethereum, stablecoins, XRP, Doge, SHIB, everything, right? So Kris does seem like he's doing what he can to dispel the FUD, right? But, I feel like this is a low blow, kind of trying to attack him on his earlier business ventures. And I think it would be a bigger red flag had these business ventures been like 5 years ago, right? Like right before Crypto.com, it used to be called Monaco. Let's say he tried all these things like 2-3 years before he started Monaco and Crypto.com. I would say, well, that may be a red flag. But some of these companies was like from 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago. So obviously a lot of things, happen in 20 years, right? A lot of things. And some of these companies he ran were for many, many, many years, not just like a 6-month stint or a 1-year stint. They were multi-year. So again, I think this is a hit piece. Now you may be wondering why there's a hit piece right now. Well, obviously it's for clicks and views, right? Because everyone is so fearful about FTX and SBF, and everyone is wondering about every other exchange out there, right? So obviously CNBC or whoever controls CNBC wants to spread that FUD because it's easy to get the clicks, right? So that's how I view this whole thing. I know it's it's just one of those moments right now. There's just so much FUD, so much fear, right? And we just have to get through it. We just got to get through it because this is not a reflection of the whole industry. No, it's not. But speaking of FTX and SBF, there's been another revelation, okay? Unfortunately, it's with a crypto news site, and I don't think this is probably it. There's probably more. And unfortunately, the block, even me, I've been covering a lot of stories with you guys, right, from the block. And unfortunately, it turns out that the guy that ran the block, the guy that bought it, he was funded by Alameda Research. This guy named McCaffrey, okay? And he took out 3 loans, and it wasn't just to buy out the block and pay for operations. One of the loans actually went to buying a penthouse for him in the Bahamas. There seems to be a lot of real estate buying in the Bahamas. I don't know what it is. Everyone associated with FTX or SBF is buying multi-million mansions in Bahamas. There's something going on there, okay? But after this news came out, this guy, he resigned as CEO. He's leaving the company, but he still gets to keep his $16 million mansion or penthouse in the Bahamas. And then the rest of it, turns out that it was to basically buy out the block. And it makes people wonder, right? How can you trust them? Can you trust them anymore because of this, right? And to be fair, it seems like the other employees just had no idea. This was all going to one man. And it was hidden too. The deposits wasn't from FTX or from Alameda. You know how there's like hundreds of companies, right, that SBF created? It was through all these like weird companies that no one ever heard of before, but they're all related. Who are some of these names? I saw some of these names and it was just like, it's just really ridiculous. Like here's one called LLC called The Lonely Road, and then there's another one called MJ McCaffrey. I think this is the LLCs that the founder or the owner created, but there was just a lot of stuff. So unfortunately, we have another I would say the contagion spread. Well, it already spread. It's just things are coming out now, right? So yeah, it kind of sucks. And who knows what other news sites were bought out and paid for by Alameda or FBF, right? We'll see. We'll see. This is why CZ, right? CZ, you know, just yesterday I covered how he was so pissed off at SBF. And Brian Armstrong also, too. Brian Armstrong also came out and said, why are we slapping SBF with mini gloves or something like that? You know, this guy ripped off $10 billion from investors. He should be thrown in jail. And CZ also said the same thing about Kevin O'Leary and SBF. Like, first of all, how can you defend him? And second of all, this guy, right, he knew exactly what he was doing. And he has friends in high places. And he paid for high friends in high places everywhere, right? So now we're starting to see some of that. We know all the donations, the campaign donations and stuff like that, but who knows where else the money went. Let's just put it that way. So there's that. And the Bahamian attorneys are pursuing, you know, the international customers. So this whole thing is so weird because FTX is a company created in the Bahamas, right? But filing bankruptcy in the U.S., it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So now you have two governments fighting over the assets and fighting over the bankruptcy hearing and all that stuff. It's really confusing. I don't even know how he could file for bankruptcy in the U.S. I actually don't know how that makes sense. It's a Bahamian company. So, yeah. But the U.S. Justice Department, or Department of Justice, is investigating FTX CEO, not just SBF and Caroline, but the guy that ran FTX.US, right, for siphoning funds out of the U.S., interesting enough, because those funds went into Alameda. It's a big triangle of money just being moved between the three companies, right? So, again, this whole notion that SBF had no clue what was going on, and he only found out about it in November. You know, this whole tour that he's been doing, all these interviews, you know, saying that he has no clue what was happening. He's innocent. It just seems so improbable and unlikely. There was so much money being moved around everywhere. It seems like it's impossible, absolutely impossible, that he had no clue what was going on, right? So, anyways, still ongoing. Now, Cathie Wood still thinks that Bitcoin and crypto overall will continue forward, still will be strong, and I believe that. But the one sector that will be getting a boost, can you guess? DeFi. Right? It makes sense. More and more people are drawn to what they could control, right? Their own wallets, and also where they can trade. And they don't have to worry about their funds being locked up. It makes sense, right? So I know a lot of people have been turning to self-custody wallets like Ledger, right? Or Trust Wallet. And that's great. That's great. And a lot of people are probably learning, since they're learning about wallets, learning about how to use DEXs, right? And that's fantastic. So over time, some people predict that DeFi will overtake CeFi, at least in the crypto space. That one day, DEXs will get more volume and more liquidity than even the Binance and Coinbases of the world, right? That may be. And maybe someday, not right now, nowhere close, but someday it could lead that way. And someday, you know, you'll have apps or dApps that have built-in DEXs and swaps, and people won't even know. That's the thing. Like right now, there is still a learning curve, of course, right? There's a learning curve. And it's different. You have to worry about gas fees. You have to worry about the liquidity pairs, right? Sometimes there's just no pairs that you want. So it's not the same experience, but you know, someday the dApps that we use or the apps we use will be so sophisticated and so easy, people won't even realize they're using a DEX or even safeguarding their own crypto for that matter. But I think that's how we're gonna get global adoption, just basic ease of use and continuous progress and evolution, right? Moving forward. It's still early. It's still very, very early. And as for some good Bitcoin stuff, just FYI, $42 trillion worth of Bitcoin have settled on Bitcoin Network over this last year. And this was during a bad year, a very, very bad year. Yet the Bitcoin Network processed $42 trillion worth of transactions. Okay? That is a tremendous, tremendous amount. That rivals like Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal's of the world. Okay? That's how big it is. And this is the only network that exists on Earth where you can send money, in this case Bitcoin, anywhere worldwide without a third party looking at it and controlling it and telling you whether or not you could do so or not. There's definitely value there that a lot of people don't quite understand because they haven't dealt with some of the other nonsense that has happened. I've told you guys at the beginning I've been an entrepreneur for a while, right? I've started using PayPal during their very early days. And I'm telling you, it is the worst experience you could ever have with any kind of payment processor because they're not a bank. They act like a bank. They act like they could do whatever they want. And really, you have no recourse. They'll freeze your account. They'll lock up your funds. They'll force you to provide whatever they want to see, right, until they get satisfaction. And that is just not right. But yeah, this is quite amazing. And of course, you still do have on-chain metrics that definitely show, yeah, we are very, very, very oversold. Very oversold indeed. This is the time to be stacking sats, to be stacking crypto, because what follows are good times, good parabolic recovery times. So we're still getting a lot of these, right? Just take a look. Very similar to prior downtrends, prior crypto winters, prior corrections. We are seeing the same thing right now. So stay strong. Stay strong, my friends. All right, so that is pretty much it. Looking at Bitcoin, you know, relatively solid. I know the U.S. market sold off again last week. You see, U.S. market on Friday sold off once again. But last week, all reds every single day. Well, I think maybe an exception of one day. Every single day, and even before, it was actually the worst week since September, right? Yet, Bitcoin didn't flinch, didn't move. It stayed where it is, and overall crypto market cap, you can see, also stayed slightly green, but it does seem like there's a build-up right now, right? There's definitely a build-up, and something's about to happen soon. All right, let's do some Q&A. Today I started, I brought up my Twitch account again. Back in 2020 when my YouTube account was banned for 3 months, I started a Twitch channel, but Twitch is just not good for crypto content. But anyways, I decided to live stream today. I have one viewer right now, and that's myself. All right, let me scroll up here. Let's see if I missed anything. Any idea why MEXC is pumping? No, I don't, Rocket Rider. I'm sorry. Let's see here. A lot of people chiming in about Bahamas and the real estate purchases. Money laundering is what it is, according to people in the chat here. Yeah, I mean all the real estate. You know, it makes you wonder if you're spending hundreds of millions, right? You could buy real estate anywhere you want. You could buy in the U.S. You could buy luxury penthouses in New York or Los Angeles, right? Why is everything in the Bahamas? It makes you wonder. There's something going on there too, right? All right, XRP. Well, you guys know how I feel about XRP, and you guys know that I alone possess the only copy of the most educational video ever created about XRP. Mike, appreciate it. Would I do an interview with SPF if I had a chance? Yeah, I would. I just don't know what I would ask at this point. I've not been practicing my interview skills, so I don't know how to dig, I guess, important things out. I mean, so many people have tried already, other than you just ask them straight questions like, are you lying? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe I would ask him about all the mansions. You know, because he claims that he has no money, right? He has $100,000 and a credit card. I don't think anyone asked him about the mansions that he bought for himself, his parents, his executives, right? Well, do you not count those? Yeah, in 2020, I was banned on YouTube because YouTube was going after all the crypto channels. It was during the COVID time, and they were relying heavily on bots to kind of figure out which channels to ban, because all the crypto, you know, spam streams and stuff like that. And for whatever reason, most of the other guys got their channel back within like a day or two at most. I didn't get it back for like 3 months. And it was horrible, horrible. I think it's because I even had a Cointelegraph article written about me too, because I reached out to them and they wrote it. It didn't help. I think it's because someone took my name afterwards. So then the YouTube guys that was working at the time, they're like, oh, he got it back already. But no, it was some other channel that took my name right after they found out my channel was banned. But finally I got a hold of someone working inside YouTube and they fixed it. But it was a long wait. Apparently, according to Buy the Dip, Bahamas has some of the best real estate markets in the world, besides being an awesome place to live. And then tax implications. I don't know if that, I'm pretty sure it's a great place to visit. I don't know about the tax situation or having the best real estate market. You could say any tropical place would have a really good real estate market. Do you think we'll go lower? No, I don't think so. I think unless we have some other kind of major disaster or some kind of external force, okay? So you can't discount those kind of things. Like, for example, if Tether went under or some other exchange went under, that would bring us lower. Or if war escalates, you know, something like that, that would make us go lower. But besides some kind of extreme situation on a macro scale or internally, I think we'll be okay, and I think we will recover. Ask SPF for a business plan. I have a feeling that he does not have one. Who do you think will replace ETH in 2025? I don't know. I don't know if anyone's going to replace them. If I had to guess, it would be either BNB, Cardano, or Polygon, if I had to guess. DZO. I used to always call you Dr. O, but I realize it's DZO. Almost reaching my second Bitcoin. Thank you for a positive vibe. Always, you're welcome and congratulations. After you achieve one, right? One Bitcoin, you go for a second. And after you achieve a second, you go for a third and fourth. It's basically a race to see who can accumulate the most Bitcoins. That's how I see it. Bitcoin is going to be the greatest store of value within our lifetime. I don't know if there will ever be anything that's even more valuable than Bitcoin. So it's just a race to see who can accumulate more. Vincent said, a guy tried to sound an alarm about what was going down in Bahamas. Then he washed him on a source dead. All right, I don't want to hear about that. That's very sad, if true. It's a race to even get 0.1 Bitcoin. I mean, it is. I think a lot of people take it for granted that you could just, buy one Bitcoin, which I've always said is very hard to do. It's a big accomplishment. I mean, there's guys that make six figures, well into six figures, making 200, 250 a year. Doctors, lawyers, whatever, business owners. They're making that kind of money per year. And you tell them, hey, go take out $17,000 from your bank account to buy one Bitcoin. They'll tell you they can't do it. They're still living paycheck to paycheck. There are a lot of people that cannot afford to buy one Bitcoin, right? That's why you do it in stages. You slowly DCA. That's the way to do it. But even right now, 17,000 is still a major accomplishment. But I've said this before. When Bitcoin was 30,000, 40,000, 60,000, 70,000, I don't think people realize the gravity of that. When Bitcoin was at 69,000, how many people could take out 69,000 to buy one Bitcoin? Almost none, right? That's why it's important to take advantage when things are low, and important to DCA, because it's a really hard thing to accomplish, right? And that's why it's a major milestone if you do accomplish it. I have no sound. I have sound. Did you hear about SPF funding crypto news? I covered that already. The block, unfortunately. I like to think that it's just isolated to the founder. I say the founder, but according to the story, he's the guy that just bought it out. This McCaffrey. He got huge loans, 3 loans. 1, to complete the acquisition of the block. And 2, I think it's also related to that. And 3, to buy a huge apartment in the Bahamas for $16 million. Yeah. And he created all these weird LLCs, right? Like the Bahamas one was to Red Sea LLC. The other one was the Lonely Road LLC. And then one that's in his name, MJ McCaffrey LLC. Like, he was trying to hide it. So these two seem like basically they were bribes. The first one probably legit loan for him to buy out the block. But these two were pretty much, they look like the bribes, which is why he had to create these phony LLCs to kind of hide those funds. But he's out of the company now. Hopefully the block is untainted because of it. Jenny says, hey, George, I finally broke down and bought a ledger. I feel much better relaxed with the crypto. Congratulations, Jenny. I haven't seen you for a while. I remember you used to chime in all the time. But congratulations. Just make sure, just know that the Ledger wallet itself, the hardware device, the USB device, means nothing. It's all about safeguarding your recovery phrase. That is the most important thing, right? It tells you right off the bat. It's like a 24-word phrase. So you write it down, right? But you got to safeguard that. That's the most important thing. So keep that in mind. for any wallet out there, right? The most important thing is that recovery phrase. Eduardo says, greatest lesson I ever learned was how to live beneath my means. Good. Good. Do you consider HNT a dead coin since it's related to Solana? You know, it's unfortunate because they were forced. If you read about it, they were not. They were on Ethereum, and I guess the investor, I forgot which one, which VC that invested in Helium also invested in Solana. So I heard rumors that's why they decided to move to Solana, and there was a lot of FUD around it. People did not like that move. Unfortunately, they made that move. It made it worse now. So I still think they're a good company. They're still involved with 5G and mesh network overall. But, you know, a lot of this Solana FUD is definitely not helping them, right? I don't know if they're going to stick with Solana. I mean, Solana itself is still operational. It's not like Solana shut down. They are still doing okay. It's just that it may take a while for them to recover, and a lot of dApps are probably going to look at other chains to develop on. But as for Helium, I think they could pull through. Nothing other than Solana FUD that's pulling them down right now, but I think they could pull through. I don't know if they're going to switch to another chain. Do you believe Stacks has potential? Well, maybe. Stacks is bringing, or trying to bring, kind of. It's a layer 2. It's bringing smart contracts to Bitcoin. But it's utilizing the Ethereum, I believe it's utilizing the Ethereum virtual machine. It's like bringing a layer 2 on top of Bitcoin utilizing Ethereum. So there's developments, you know, like DeFi and NFTs. I'm not familiar with the projects, but there are a few that's supposedly on top of Bitcoin, but it's really not. Again, this is why I don't like this attack from the Bitcoin maxis attacking everything else, saying, well, they're all securities and they should all be shut down because they had illegal, token offerings, right? Every innovation that we have right now in this space is brought on by Ethereum. Tokenization, NFTs, DeFi, DEXs, all the major wallets that we have, right? They're basically they all spurred from Ethereum. And there's still more that's coming out. Bridges, liquidity pools. I mean, there's synthetic tokens. There's a lot of stuff. So this is why you don't want to stop innovation, because some of that is now being developed for Bitcoin, which is great. If Bitcoin somehow, just like Lightning Network, is like a layer 2 on top of Bitcoin, if it could have a layer for just DeFi and programmable language, and smart contracts, great. But where did it come from? It came from innovations from other chains, right? This is why you don't want to just attack everything, because it's just going to slow down development and progress and evolution of the entire space. The space is big enough for everyone, and Bitcoin is not threatened by Ethereum or anyone else. That's the funny thing. It's not. It's not. Anyone that thinks Ethereum is threatening Bitcoin, they don't truly understand what Ethereum is or Bitcoin is. Will ETH crash if it's deemed a security? I think it will. It will survive, but it will lose a ton of supporters. I think a ton of projects will move away. A ton of holders will move away. So it will bring the hurt to Ethereum for sure. But will they survive? I still think so. I think they have enough resources. Still enough of the community will still stick around. But it's going to hurt them tremendously. No doubt. Daniel, appreciate it. Let's see here. I still have. Yay, I have three viewers on Twitch now. Christian Bale is the best Batman. I don't know where that came from. Did you see that you can trade staked ETH on Coinbase? Yeah, it's a synthetic version of ETH. They offer liquid staking because they know that people will be antsy. They want to do something with their ETH, so they give you CB ETH, and you could, you know, trade on DEXs and stuff like that with it. But it's still a synthetic version. It's not the real thing. Now, of course, the next upgrade for Ethereum will happen in, it's been proposed March or April next year. So only then can you actually unstake ETH from the chain. All right, guys. Overall, you know what? CNBC doing their thing to spread FUD right now, right? I think Kris is an entrepreneur. I think he had a lot of failures. He picked himself up and continued forward and finally found a winner. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But CNBC, of course, is spreading that FUD and painting a really dark picture about Kris and Crypto.com. I would say let's stay with the facts. They have released their proof of reserves. It's looking good. They have enough assets. So let's not listen to the FUD unless things change. If there's more things that come out, then of course we got to take that seriously. But right now it does seem like they're fine, and this is just a hit piece, right? But as for everything else, right, Bitcoin is still looking good. Still looking like there should be some movement soon. But all the on-chain metrics and everything still looking great. So stay strong, my friends. And I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Enjoy your Saturday. Take care. Bye-bye.